Have you ever wondered why sex is so powerful? Why are we obsessed with the pleasures of pleasure? Is there anything that helps us live healthier lives while still satisfying our emotions? Are you aware that sex alone has magical power in the world? Currently, up to 95% of human energy is possessed by money and sex. And even 95% is a modest number. It can be almost 100%. The question that most of us face in our daily lives is why people are so obsessed with money and sex. That we first know, money is just a means to serve people, right? We are not obsessed with money, but we are obsessed with what money can bring to our lives. So most people don't want money. They want the empowerment that money brings. Because money can bring us the material world we want. So money doesn't. It is simply a means, as people often think of it, as a magic pen that attracts us into its spiral. Suppose, if you have money in your pocket, your life will become easier and more comfortable because you can do what you want. So money is not just a means, it is a tool to satisfy the emotions inside you. The same goes for sex, for example. Today you have to live in a poor slum with no money in your hand, and you won't be able to sit and listen to these things because you will struggle to make a living every day. But if today you have a little money in your pocket, you have a little extra money in your pocket, you can sit here leisurely and listen to these things to develop yourself. Whether it's raining outside or even the upcoming storm, you can rest assured indoors because you have little money in your pockets. So you can live freely without having to worry about much, like we don't want sex because we want sex because the feelings that sex brings about, most of the feelings that sexual pleasure brings about, have extremely strong energy. When we're satisfied with sexual pleasure, we have ecstatic feelings of freedom in another realm where normal people have little experience to. Therefore, most of us are easily attracted to it, and whether it is money or sex. You have money in your pocket and love in your body. This is not controversial here because humans, after all, it is created by sex and fed by money. So these things are not what's wrong. But if it goes deep into your head, controlling your mind, it becomes debauched. You lose yourself. I would emphasize this so you can understand more easily. Keeping money in your pocket makes our life easier and better. It's normal. We can go to long meditation courses for a whole month without having to worry about anything. Then we will be free to live as real people and develop to the best of our abilities. But if you keep money and sex in your head, it will be a depravity that can destroy your soul like a disease, causing us to slowly die. It will rule you from the inside out and destroy you in many different ways. Everything beautiful, so that in your life you will be lost. Because now money and sex are two things that are consuming more than 95% human energy. You can see ads everywhere. Money and sex creep into every corner of your life. On commercials, every street, on social networks, in your phone, at work, time during meals, and every moment when you rest. That's why these two things are no longer in their natural position. They have been exaggerated many times over, invading our entire mind and life, causing people to gradually lose themselves, causing psychological illnesses that become more and more serious if you often feel stressed and worried regarding these issues. You need to understand that intelligence is turning its back on you. Your mind no longer serves you emotions such as anger, fear, anxiety, etc. Our generalist, the negativity we create that is always directed towards someone, but we need to understand that this is the poison that we're drinking into our bodies and wish others to die. Fortunately, life is not like that. If I drink the poison, I will not to others, but myself the poison. Emotions are expressed even on the chemical side, and you can analyze your blood when you are angry or when you think negatively. You will know how it works, and you will understand why negative emotions are toxic emotions on both body and mind. You are poisoning yourself with emotion. Negative emotions. So do you want to keep money and sex in mind to poison ourselves or not? Now what needs to be solved? How to remove toxic thoughts from our mind. How to remove the dirty thoughts of sex from our heads so that we can be successful and free in life. Join us to explore this topic right below with a powerful story and teachings that will help you remove the dark thoughts of sex from your mind. Let's start the trial. In the past, there was a Zen master who adopted orphans as disciples. They lived in a remote monastery on the mountain every day. Together, they planted pots and learned the ethics of meditation. The children were assigned different tasks to maintain the life of one of their disciples. He was supposed to go in to exchange food for food every day. He would cross a river to reach the village one day as usual. The disciple went to exchange food in the village. On the way back across the river, he saw a boy hiding behind a bush and looking at something because curious. The disciple came to the boy and asked, "What are you looking at?" The boy quickly turned around and signaled, "Please be quiet." Then he whispered, "I can't see why you're looking at the beautiful girls." The disciple also looked in the direction the boy was looking and saw a few girls without clothes bathing in the river. He said, "Oh, this shouldn't be seen, so I my own shouldn't be seen." So the boy in the village replied, "I don't see how beautiful these girls are. Why are you admiring the beauty? Look at their beauty, as they are so charming." How after hearing this, the disciple began to turn to observe the girl. As soon as the thought of wanting arose in his head, he also knelt down and hid behind the tree. While he was hiding and watching those girls, she started to discover he had broken the curfew. His body became shaking and wondering, "What the hell am I doing? This is not right. I should leave." Then he hurried and returned to the monastery. After that day, he was busy with his work looking at what he had seen. That shout kept repeating in his head. He imagined that scene again in his head, and his mind was compelled to look back at that scene. Again, that made he couldn't concentrate on doing any work the next day because he was curious to see those girls again. He left a little earlier. He went to the riverbank and started watching the girls bathe. E-boy in the village now, with has become his daily routine. He will escape from the monastery to the riverbank and hide behind a tree and continue watching the girls bath. His mind no longer focused on any work. He's always attracted to the thought of the girls. She becomes excited and cannot sit still and meditate, looking at this magical poetry on the outside, and often immersed, lost in thought. The Zen master understood that something was wrong one day. The Zen master called his disciple over and asked him if he encountered any problems in the process of entering the village to exchange food. "You need me to go with you to the village today?" I heard that the disciple was afraid and said, "I don't have any problems with everything given. If the change is favorable, please rest assured that I don't want to bother you." "Master, please let me go alone." After saying this, the disciple hurried to the village as usual. As soon as the disciple left, the Zen master started following him to find out what happened. When he reached the riverbank, the disciple continued to enter a row of trees there. He hid behind the bushes where the village boy was. Then they both started watching the girls bathing. The Zen master saw this and he was shocked. The Zen master approached the disciple and asked to tell me if you came here to enjoy the girls, hey or not. The disciple turned around and was startled to see his master. He began to vibrate with such fear that he dropped his bowl. The boy in the village saw that and immediately ran away from there. The disciple knelt down. "I beg my teacher to forgive me for my mistake, because I can't control the attack, my lust. That's why I cheated on you and got into this mess. I beg you to punish me, and I promise this won't happen again." The Zen master calmly replied, "First come back with me to the monastery and review the mistake you made later. You don't have to go to the village to exchange food anymore. It will be left to another junior brother to handle." Always remember these things. If you choose to surround yourself with good things, you will become good. But if you choose evil things, you will become evil. So be careful about what you choose later. Then both teachers and students returned to the hermitage. The disciple also did not return to that river of enchantment anymore. Gradually, he became quiet and withdrawn, and often angry. He became stubborn and caused trouble with his fellow students for the reason of not being able to focus on his meditation one evening, because the Zen master felt his erratic temperament and immediately came to ask, "What was wrong with you?" The disciple had confided his feelings to the teacher since the incident on the riverbank that day. Dirty thoughts about the images of girls kept appearing in my mind. More, I tried to stop them, but when I tried, it became stronger and invaded my entire thoughts as if I had been lost in my own desire. "Master, what should I do now?" Because the Zen master said, "Come with me to the garden behind here." When you came to the garden, the Zen master pointed out, "Going to the corn plants and tell me if you see corn plants producing corn fruit, and one corn ear can produce a lot of corn seeds. One corn plant only grows from a single corn seed. Do you think growing corn is too much?" Because the disciple fire. If you listen attentively to what the teacher says, the heavenly master continues. So let's see. Mind is a garden, and your thoughts are like seeds. If you sow a thought in your head, it will reveal thousands of other thoughts, corresponding to whether it is a bad or good thought. Then, like the law of nature, you cannot stop it from showing a lot of fruit, because the dream disciple understands the idea of the teacher, and he continued to listen attentively to the Zen master, further explaining that in our minds there will be no subtraction and division calculus, only weight calculus and multiplication calculus. People think that they will get rid of negative thoughts, and themselves will have positive thoughts that never happen. See how it works? And you will understand when at this moment you think that you should not think dirty with women, but that very thought you are planting in your mind a seed of poor thinking with women. The mind will not be aware of whether this is a thought good or bad, is toxic or non-toxic. It only receives a signal about that thought, and the next moment your mind will add similar thoughts. The more you try to force yourself to stop thinking, the more it will multiply, and eventually your mind will be filled with thoughts. So this is the nature of our mind, because in this mind it is an extremely fertile ground. Without any thought seed drifting away, anything you're down, it will only grow and multiply quickly. So it is impossible to control our mind in a way as to eliminate negative thoughts, and your mind will be full of positive things. It will never meditate. The master continued to teach. Sit down here and close your eyes with me for a few minutes, and you will realize that we cannot do anything with our strong mind. What we want to get rid of will become our quality, and it will completely engulf us. Now the disciple begins to rise. What should I do then? The Zen master replied. Understand its mechanism of action. This is the first important thing to control your thoughts. And next you need to understand that your body and your mind, it is means to serve us, just like you drive a car, and the car will take you to the destination we want to reach. Each person will drive different cars and also have different experiences in life. The mind is similar. It will help us store experiences, and at the same time, it will also be a machine to help us digest and practice meditation to keep our minds steady and create a sufficient distance between ourselves and the thought process between ourselves and the biochemical process on the body. It's like a television viewer. We're watching the movie life. We just watch and don't react to it. Just, you sit down and observe your body. Observing the sensations on your body can be rhythmic. The heart can be, the breath can be, anything you feel in the present. Depending on the sensitivity of the mind, focus on the breath and the sensations throughout. As the thoughts arise, you recognize them. It arises and then continues to return to observe the feelings. Just paying attention to the one-time mind, your child will see all thoughts and feeling. All of them are born and destroyed continuously when you do not identify yourself as one with the thought that you will lose their power and it will disappear without controlling them. Can be us again. Because the disciple seemed to realize the Zen master's teachings, he said, "My womb understood, master. I need to keep my mind steady and create a sufficient distance from all thoughts focused only on the breath and the feelings. I will extinguish all sources of thoughts within the Zen master himself." Don't laugh and answer yes. And remember the mechanism of the mind when you sow the seed. Whatever thought you will receive in return corresponds to one seed. It will produce thousands of other seeds when you sow the seed. The sweet fruit will produce sweet fruit, but when you plant the bitter fruit seed, it will produce bitter fruit. And no matter what you're thinking, it's not what's important. Now that we live, it's what's important. So focus on the feelings within yourself, what you're experiencing, and bring about the corresponding feeling. There are only two types of suffering that people have to go through in life: pain, physical suffering, and mental suffering. Once you create a small space between yourself and your mind, and that body will be the end of suffering. Through this story, we realize that to eliminate toxic thoughts, dirty thoughts in our mind, cannot eliminate it by repress it the way of thinking. That most people are thinking that I will eliminate negative thoughts, and I will have positive thoughts. That will never happen. 100%, it won't work. Because noon can get rid of it. We can avoid it for a while, but it's just temporary evasion that never goes away. It will lie deep in the subconscious or come back in your dreams. The moment you ask yourself to stop toxic thoughts, it will bounce you back with great forces. Understanding the mechanism of the mind is very important.
Don't resist any thoughts in your mind. The more you try to resist those thoughts, the stronger it will become by trying to suppress it. The more you unintentionally attach yourself to it, and the more attached you are to the thoughts, the more we make it stronger. Let the thoughts come and observing them without judgment. Consider it like watching a movie. If you consider your thoughts as your own, you will easily react to their appearance. But if you understand that it is just fiction, you will not be affected. Therefore, practice meditation to let your mind become balanced and steadfast in observing everything. Thoughts and feelings on the body come and go. Keep yourself a sufficient distance from them. You will not be affected by anything, and always find peace in your soul. A positive mind and a powerful mind, when we have positive and toxic thoughts, they are always accompanied by worries and insecurities, and you will lose your inherent, clear-headed calm. But a healthy mind, always thinking positively, will always keep our soul at peace and happiness, from which the energy of peace and happiness will help us face all the storms of life. And if you find it interesting, please leave comment number 1 so we know you are still watching the video. Please share your thoughts and lessons. Don't forget to click subscribe to our new video